And welcome to Talk2BeWell. It's great to be with you today. I'm your host, Dr. Robin Henderson, Chief Executive Behavioral Health for Providence here in Oregon. And here with me are Riley and JJ. Both are seniors in high schools here who, for those who haven't heard, and how could you not hear these days, Oregon seniors will not be going back to school in 2020. While we know many are experiencing loss right now, today we're focusing on seniors of 2020 who are missing the memories that come with graduation, prom, spring sports, and all the other traditions that happen as people transition or matriculate, as they say, to the next phase of life. As a reminder, the information provided during this event is for educational purposes only. It's not intended nor is it implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice. So let's get going today. I want to start with having each of you introduce yourself and tell us, how are you doing mentally since school got out? Riley, why don't you kick us off?
Hi, everyone. I'm Riley. I'm from the Dallas High School, and to be honest, it's been really hard so far. I found that I put a lot of my identity in high school and all the activities and all those things that we're now missing out on. But I just try and take each day at a time and understand that it's a process, and no matter what, I'll be okay, even if I don't get to graduate in a cap and gown.
How about you, JJ?
Well, I'm JJ. I go to Redmond High School, and each day has been kind of different. Like, I would say some days are good and then some days are bad, just because like some days I miss school and then some days I don't. But I think overall the process is going to play out and everything's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, even though it might not be in the traditional way that we all thought.
So how have you been filling your time? I mean, all of a sudden here you are, every day is a new adventure. And as seniors, at least in my house, I have 2 seniors here, they're pretty much done with school. So how are you filling your time?
Well, personally, I would love to say that I'm super productive and I'm doing all sorts of great things. But honestly, I watch a lot of Netflix and I spend probably too much time on my phone. But I, however, am not fully done with high school. I still have almost a full schedule to complete. So that's a little different for me, but slowly working away at my classes.
A week ago for me, I officially graduated high school. Thank you. So I still want to like learn and still want to do and like try to do things. So I'm looking into college classes online to try to get ahead. And I never took like a music or band class in high school. So now I'm trying to learn how to play the guitar. Slowly but surely trying to learn. But yeah, I mean, it's going good. Mm-hmm.
So Riley, since you're still in school, I'm wondering if you could talk about how are you managing distance learning? How do you keep yourself on a schedule when there's no bell to tell you to go to class?
Honestly, I don't. My school does everything through Google Classroom. So most of my teachers will post all the work for the whole week. And then it's just up to me to desperately find the motivation to get it all done. And honestly, I just try to like set some goals each day. So like I'll make a list and say, okay, today I at least have to write the essay and do the notes. And then I get to cross it off and it's super satisfying. But online school is tricky for sure, especially for someone who's been doing public school with like 30 plus classmates every day. So it's, you're used to having like the camaraderie and the help too, definitely. So definitely taking some getting used to, but once again, a process, and we'll get there.
Well, you bring up a good point about camaraderie. For both of you, you went from being very social beings in a very social space to all of a sudden, now you're not. And how are you making time and figuring out how to connect with your friends? How is that working for you?
Personally, I really love Snapchat. I've got numerous group chats with friends, and we just try and like check in each day and talk, send stupid memes to each other, and talk about stupid trivial things that make us feel good so we can try and focus on positive things instead of, how hard everything has been.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like FaceTime group like calls, and there's just like one website where you can watch a movie on like Netflix with all your friends at the same time, and then like communicate through a group chat. So everyone's like keeping connected through social media and through over the phone for sure.
What do you do if you find somebody that isn't connecting in? You know what I mean? If you've got a friend that you're worried about, that you're concerned about, that maybe you're not hearing from, have you had that experience, and what have you done?
I mean, personally, I know that not everyone is on social media. And the other day we had a Zoom call with my entire AP class, and there's students that I haven't talked to once, but I really missed. So it was really nice to actually like talk to them. And as a class, we went through and like checked in and said how we were feeling each day. So it was really nice to be able to hear each of those students talk and how they're feeling. And I've also written and received a few letters and postcards. So it might be a little, olden days for us techie teenagers, but it's fun to be artsy and feel like I don't know, living in the 18th century again or something.
Okay, I'm going to feel a little old at the 18th century here, because that's how we used to communicate with our friends. JJ, how about you? How are you checking in with those people that maybe you're not hearing from?
Well, I try to like see what friends I'm not hearing from the most and just like give them a call, because like there's no reason to call except to just call, and like to hear someone's voice and like during this time. So basically I've just been trying to call all my friends and individually, so that way like we can have a one-on-one conversation. And I think that's been helping a lot of the friends who like might not be responding to like text messages or haven't been like FaceTiming the whole friend group chat or something. So like it's just a good way to stay connected. It's just like by just simply call them.
In my house, I think I shared that I've got 2 seniors and I also have a college freshman. And over these last, I guess it's been about 6 weeks, they have each at their own time hit a wall where life got overwhelming for them, and it just all of a sudden dawned on them what was happening, that they were missing out on their freshman year. They were missing out on their senior year. Have either of you hit a wall, and what was that like? And mind you,
many walls.
Multiple.
Yeah, many walls. Especially being a teenager and like experiencing many emotions as it is, going through this, and then everything is heightened. There's been a lot of walls, but I'm really fortunate to have an incredible support system, whether that's my family, my teachers even, and especially my friends too. But usually when I'm like kind of having a freak out where everything's too much and I'm really sad and I'm struggling to handle everything, it really helps me to like take a breath and think about the things that I can directly control right now, because so much is out of our control. And I can focus on the fact that each day I get to wake up and decide what I want to do with my day. And I can handle that one thing and I can control that. And that's in my direct, that's my prerogative. And I can waste a day and be really sad and wallow in the negativity, or I get to be productive, go outside, get some fresh air. So it's one day at a time, and I'm sure there will be some more walls, but then I just have to, take a step back and focus on those around me and what I can control.
I would agree with Riley. I've hit a few walls too. But then I also have to remember that I'm not the only one going through this, and like I'm not the only one having to like understand and accept what's happening. So like I've just been making sure to talk to my friends while I'm like feeling down, because they kind of understand, and then like kind of vice versa. Like if they're going through something, then like they just call me or talk to me, and then kind of get each other through it, just because we can relate and understand how each other feels.
That's true. So that kind of leads into the idea of how are you taking care of your mental health proactively to maybe prevent that wall from coming?
Um, I think that goes well with like the taking each day at a time and
Mhm.
like taking the time in the morning to like really assess how you're feeling. Like, oh, today I might be a little more sad than usual. So, like, what can I do to turn that around? Like, what are things that make me feel good? Do I want to like have a dance party in my room all alone or read a book that's going to make me happy? Something that I have started doing, I keep a gratitude journal.
Nice.
So I section out like a whole month and then I take the time each night before I go to sleep to jot down like 4 or 5 things that made me feel good that day and that I'm thankful for.
Nice.
And it's a really good way to end my day on a positive note and focus on the things that affected me that day in a good way and not negatively.
Oh, that's great advice.
I always just try to keep on a schedule, like make sure, because I know sleep is important, and especially not having a routine where I have to wake up early and then make sure I'm at school at 7:30. It's just like I'm making sure that I always get a good like 8 to 9 hours of sleep, or maybe take a nap during the afternoon or something. But like also like trying to organize the space, like my room, especially, and preparing for college too. Like right now I'm trying to organize the things I want to take to college and the things I want to leave at home, and just kind of like making my life easier by doing just like simple little organizing throughout like my house or wherever that could be, just to like make my day go by smoother.
So, I was watching something the other day and they were talking about how one of the things that's got to be tough for teenagers is this is the time in your life when you're supposed to differentiate from your parents. You're supposed to be, separating, developing your own life, doing your own things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's how this is supposed to roll. However, you're now, for an indefinite period of time, locked in this cosm where you're all together. And the idea that you can differentiate from your parents becomes really challenging. How is that relationship working? How are things going with the people you live with?
It's rocky. I'm not gonna lie. um, I'll be honest. I'm a teenage girl, and sometimes I just really don't want to do household chores, and that can cause some rifts. But I think it's really important to have your space where you can just be alone and just like be and exist and not have like a nagging parent or even just a parent that means well but is like in your space and maybe you're upset or you're thinking about something and like the littlest things, especially when you're cooped up with everyone, can spark something. So understanding that like this is a difficult time for everyone, and yeah, the situation is extreme for seniors, but like to, I don't know, be forgiving and understand that like we're gonna be okay, and maybe we'll all move out of the house for like a month after this and never see each other again, and then we'll come back because we love each other and we're family.
I have a really big family, so there's 8 of us in my house right now.
Oh,
um,
oh, oh.
but yeah, but everyone has their own space, and like we usually come together during meals and kind of like discuss like our morning, like did anyone have any Zoom calls or have any classes due, or like did someone go on a run, or something like that. And then we just, after like we eat lunch or something, then we have like everyone goes back to their own space and like has to get done what they need to, and then we like come back for dinner and then like usually watch a movie or something like that. So it's like we have a very like good rhythm going, and like sometimes like spaces like get invaded, or like our schedules have to change because of chores or something. But usually like my family can keep a good flow, but of course it's still hard because we're all in the same space 24/7.
Yeah. I want to go back to high school a little bit and talk about that piece of the traditions and the things that it's the spring. It's when all the big events happen as a senior. When you think about those big events, what are you missing most?
For me, I kind of had everything put in my last trimester at school, especially my senior tennis season. That was a huge piece of my senior year. And me and my doubles partner really wanted to try and work for state this year. So that was unfortunate, and I'm pretty sad about that. But there's a lot, like prom, that's kind of really cool, and we probably won't get to do that, but it'll be okay.
This year I just really missed. I knew I was gonna look forward to like the election process for student council,
Yeah.
and just seeing like
Yeah.
me leaving for my me leaving out and like graduating high school, and then seeing more students or come in, or having new students come in, and that was the part I was looking forward to. And I don't know how the election process is gonna go this year yet, but I mean, I'm hoping for the best.
Are your schools coming up with any ideas about what they're going to do differently? I know here in Westland, we got an email yesterday that they're looking at doing prom and a couple of other events on July 31st. So they're going to do a big celebration all day long on July 31st. What are your schools talking about? And more important, are you involved in those discussions about what your schools are talking about, so that it's what you want, and not that really cool idea that somebody's parent had that actually is really dorky? I have an example of one of those. Trust me.
At my high school, a lot of the events are planned by the student council and the leadership class. So that's one of my classes that I'm still in. And we are in the process currently of trying to plan. There's like a few different things that will all take place online and on social media, just because we don't know like when the quarantine will be lifted. There was some talk about prom being like a drive, like you drive through downtown and like wave. There's lots of like crazy ideas getting thrown around, but I know that our principal has let everyone know that they're planning on doing a graduation ceremony, but there's no date. It's just like whenever we can. So it could be August for all we know. But he is very adamant that he wants to have some sort of like community get together where the seniors get that moment of validation, which hopefully we will get to plan, because the student council does plan that. But I mean, everything's still up in the air, so it's hard to actually make decisions.
What about you? What are some of the things that your school's coming up with?
So far our district kind of has been like not been sharing too much information, and student council has a lot of different ideas and a lot of different like different cool ways I guess we could celebrate things or try to keep things going, but it's just all like hearing back from what we're allowed to do and when we're allowed to do it. I have heard about like some parent groups wanting to do a prom in August or July, but I don't really know much about student voice within all those things.
You know, when I was talking with another group of seniors last week, one of them mentioned that his college is looking at doing a freshman prom when they all get to college. So in the fall of next year, doing a freshman prom.
That's amazing.
I just thought that was so cool, right?
Yeah. I love that idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Speaking of college, JJ, you talked about you're packing up, you're sorting, you're cleaning, you're thinking about that. What are you thinking about in terms of the college plan? Where's that going?
So I last minute changed my whole plan.
No.
Yeah, very, very, very last minute. So the fall of this school year, I like had my whole plan like in Washington, D.C. and wanted to go out there. And then last minute, I was like, nope. And decided that I'm going to be going to school in California. I do not know what school yet. I still need to choose, but I'm still like trying to just like pack everything, so that way when I do choose and when I do know a set plan, that way I'm ready for it. Yeah. And like during quarantine gives me a lot of time to, sort through clothes and like organize and like get boxes put away and all that stuff.
Riley, how about you?
Well, I also had major change of plans. I was planning on taking a gap year and going abroad in
Mhm.
South America, and obviously international travel is not the best idea right now. So I've been like planning on that and not even thinking about college for another year. So that's all changed. And now I'm trying to pick a college, and that's really scary. But I mean, it's like endless emails and scholarships and making like tables and charts about comparing price. And it's just like, it's definitely very stressful, but I can't say I'm organizing my clothes like JJ. I started thinking about decorating a dorm room. That's somewhat productive, I think, but we'll see about college.
Okay, you have a good start on the wall behind you. I'm liking the lights. Those are good.
Thanks.
Those are dorm room essentials. But that is kind of the thing of when you start to look forward. There's a good chance that we're going to be doing this again. Does that impact how you think about where you'll go to college?
Um, kind of. Yeah. I mean, it impacts like I know there are some schools that are discussing just starting automatically online and not
Mm-hmm.
having kids on campus. I also know someone who had been like had her heart set on going to NYU, and now she's changed and she's going to go to Boston instead just because of like the situation in New York, and like that's not something that she wants to like enter or like deal with because obviously like things over there are pretty serious. So I think yeah.
I don't think it really changed. Well, I changed my plan because I wanted to be around family.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have family in California.
California.
So I think that if, um, so I think if I do go to California, then I'll be around family and then also have like be online, maybe in like in a family member's house.
Wow. You know, we've been in this quarantine now for some people 4 weeks, for some people longer than 4 weeks, uh, but it's been a while. When you think about where you were at when this first started, what's really changed for you?
I would say I've definitely come to understand the gravity of the situation. I mean, obviously from the very beginning, like people were dying and it was like very serious, but it was just supposed to be like a 2 week thing. You know, we were going to take a week off of school and then have spring break and then like address the situation. And now like the rest of our school year is canceled. So obviously like a lot of emotions have come up about that and then been suppressed and then come out again. So definitely a full cycle, but I think it's just gotten a lot more serious since the beginning, and it's definitely less of like a pity party and more of like this is a serious issue and people are being affected all across the country, so and the world also. So
Yeah, from the very start, like having everything happening, and then from where we are now, it's very very different, and like just how much like information and how much things have changed within like within schools or even like within our country has been kind of it's like been weird to watch, especially from just like inside your home.
Mm-hmm. You know, for me, I know I'm looking forward to when this quarantine is over. I'm looking forward to going out with my friends, sitting in a restaurant, enjoying and sharing some great nachos and laughing with them.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to when this quarantine's over?
I know that I just really want to hug my friends. I've got a whole bunch of friends from like all over the state through leadership, and like obviously since we live so far apart we don't get to see each other very often, and now we really don't get to see each other, so that's definitely like a top priority is seeing them.
I think mine would be the exact same.
Hugging your friends is such an important thing to do. And as much as we love our family, sometimes hugs from our friends are better. Well, We've got time for one more question. And what I really want to ask is your fellow seniors that are out there, what piece of advice would you give them for how to get through this and how to move forward? What piece of advice do you have?
I would say to understand that like this is a loss. Like this is a serious issue for us, and like it's okay to grieve. Like that's a natural emotion to feel, and it's totally understandable, and you can like feel validated in that. But it is really important to take each day at a time and focus on the good, and maybe like, you know, take a breath or two to think about like what you have direct control over and what you can't control. And then once you know what you can control, you can focus on pouring your energy into that. And, you know, going outside for a walk and doing little things for yourself just to take care of your mental health. But overall, know that this won't define the rest of your life. And no matter what, we're going to be okay.
My advice to seniors would be to understand and understand like what you're feeling and what's going on in this moment right now, but then to also really look and plan for your future and whatever your future may be, whether that be college or going into the workforce or whatever, or taking a gap year or whatever. Just like look for the future and like see what you can control then, and see like where your opportunities can take you.
Well, I think that's some great advice. JJ and Riley, I want to thank you for joining us today on Talk to Be Well. Thank you also to everyone listening and sending in your questions. I know that we didn't get to all the questions today, but we will get to them on future episodes. If you're looking for help processing your feelings, dealing with your emotions during this tough time, or any other medical questions, please visit providence.org. We've also recently launched a new resource for teen mental health aimed to help students, teachers, and parents, especially during this crisis. You can check it out at Work to Be Well. That's work, the number 2, be well. I'm Dr. Robin Henderson, and this is Talk to Be Well. Please stay well, stay safe, and stay home. Thank you.